Most people don't lose because they aren't smart enough. They lose because they walk into battles they don't even know they're fighting. Every room has rules. Every conversation has hidden currents. Ignore them, and you're swept away. Quick note before we dive in. Please subscribe. It's free for you, but it pushes me to keep creating and sharing these hidden strategies with you. Now ask yourself, what would change if influence, respect, and opportunity weren't accidents, but guarantees? The 48 laws of power aren't theory, they're the blueprint. And once you see them, you'll never move through life the same way again.
Law 1. Never outshine the master. Talent can be dangerous when it makes the wrong person feel small. Picture the young executive who dazzles in a meeting, pitching bold ideas with confidence. The room applauds, but his manager grows quiet. Weeks later, that executive finds himself excluded from key conversations. His mistake wasn't ambition, it was forgetting that those above him need to feel secure. Power is fragile. When you shine, reflect the light upward. Make leaders feel like the source of brilliance. Subtlety keeps you moving forward. Outshine the wrong person, and you may never stand in that room again. Law 2. Never put too much trust in friends. Learn to use enemies. We lean on friends for safety, but comfort often blinds us. A founder once gave his closest friend half the company, believing loyalty was unshakable. Within a year, envy turned that friend into a rival. Contrast that with two competitors locked in lawsuits for years. When they finally joined forces, their alliance outlasted any friendship because both knew exactly how far the other would go. Friends betray out of emotion. Enemies cooperate out of necessity. Trust isn't about affection. It's about alignment of interest. Law 3. Conceal your intentions. In a world that rewards oversharing, silence has become a weapon. The entrepreneur who talks too freely about a new product often discovers others racing to launch it first. The politician who telegraphs every move gives opponents time to prepare. Openness feels honest, but it leaves you exposed. Keep your true aim hidden. Let harmless chatter cover your tracks. Mislead without lying. Distract without confessing. When people think they've figured you out, you've already won. A plan revealed too soon is a plan destroyed. Law 4. Always say less than necessary. Words are cheap, but silence is expensive. In negotiations, the person who fills silence with nervous explanations usually concedes the most. In leadership, the one who talks endlessly loses authority, while the one who speaks rarely commands respect. Think of the executive who listens for 40 minutes and closes with 5 words. This is the direction forward. Brevity strikes harder than speeches. Every extra word is a leak of power. Leave space for others to guess, to wonder, to fill the silence with their own insecurities. Few things unsettle more than restraint. Law 5. Guard your reputation with your life. Reputation is the shadow that arrives before you step into a room. It can open doors you haven't even knocked on, or close them forever. One scandal, one careless moment, one viral clip can undo years of work. Reputation is not just perception, it's currency. Protect it as fiercely as wealth. When someone moves to stain your name, respond quickly, decisively, before the story grows legs. At the same time, let your reputation work for you. A strong name can intimidate rivals before you act and attract allies without you asking. In the end, your reputation is not just who you are, it is who the world believes you to be. Law 6. Court attention at all costs. Obscurity is invisibility, and invisibility is death. In a crowded world, unnoticed talent disappears. Better to provoke outrage than to be ignored. Better to draw criticism than to vanish into silence. The artist who shocks the audience is remembered. The quiet genius who hides their work is forgotten. Attention is oxygen. It fuels reputation, opportunity, power. Seek it, command it, bend it. Without attention, your voice doesn't echo, your work doesn't spread, and your influence fades before it begins. To stay relevant, you must stay visible.
Law 7. Get others to do the work, but always take the credit. History remembers names, not teams. A best-selling book is praised as the work of one author, though an army of editors shaped it. A product launch earns applause for the CEO, not the engineers who lost sleep to build it. This is not injustice. It is the way power works. Those who orchestrate are remembered. Those who labor are forgotten. Let others bring their skills, ideas, and effort. Then stand where the spotlight lands. You don't need to swing every hammer. You only need to be the architect of the finished cathedral. Law 8. Make people come to you. Use bait if necessary. Chasing diminishes power. The more you pursue, the weaker you look. The consultant who calls every prospect appears desperate. The politician who begs for endorsements looks small. But the figure who draws others in, who makes others knock on their door, gains control from the start. Sometimes you must bait the hook, an irresistible offer, a calculated mystery, a rumor of scarcity. The key is positioning. When they come to you, you set the terms, the place, the timing. Power flows to the one who waits. Law 9. Win through actions, never through argument. Arguments rarely change minds. They harden them. The manager who lectures his team about productivity sounds hollow. The manager who quietly fixes the system and doubles results earns respect without debate. The activist who argues on television may stir controversy, but the one who organizes and builds change on the ground wins lasting influence. Talk is cheap. Actions echo. Let others waste their breath. You will win by showing, not telling. Law 10. Avoid the unhappy and the unlucky. Misery is contagious. Spend long enough with a pessimist and you'll start seeing the world through their gloom. Align too closely with someone perpetually in crisis and their storms will pull you under. The colleague who spreads negativity in every meeting, the friend who finds disaster in every opportunity, they drag you down without meaning to. Choose your circle carefully. Energy spreads, fortune spreads, so does failure. Protect your momentum by surrounding yourself with those who lift, not those who sink. Law 11. Learn to keep people dependent on you. Independence is admired, but dependence is leverage. The software company that locks customers into its ecosystem, the strategist whose candidate cannot move without his advice, the teacher whose students feel they owe their growth to her, these people are not just respected, they are irreplaceable. If those around you can walk away without loss, you hold no power over them. But if their progress, safety, or future feels tied to your presence, you hold the reins. Power is not just about being valuable, it's about being necessary. Law 12. Use selective honesty and generosity to disarm your target. Deception is expected. That's why honesty disarms. A rival who admits a small weakness gains trust for the larger game. A negotiator who offers a minor concession early lulls the other side into lowering their guard. An executive who reveals a personal failure humanizes herself and wins loyalty she can later use. A well-placed act of generosity or candor breaks suspicion and creates an opening. Too much honesty weakens you, but a single deliberate act can shift the entire balance of trust.
Law 19. Know who you're dealing with. Do not offend the wrong person. Not all opponents are equal. One sharp word to the wrong individual can haunt you for years. In a meeting, a junior executive mocked his boss's outdated strategy, winning a quick laugh from his colleagues. Days later, his projects were reassigned, his opportunities dried up, and his career stalled. It wasn't the joke that ended him. It was the target. Some people shrug off insults. Others carry them like debts, waiting for the perfect moment to collect. Before you speak, learn the temperament of the person across from you. Is their pride fragile? Do they forgive or do they plot? The wrong offense can grow into a shadow that follows you through every corridor of your career. Power is not only about action, it is about knowing who you can never afford to provoke. Law 20. Do not commit to anyone. Commitment sounds noble, but it often locks you into cages of obligation. Politicians who tie themselves too tightly to one faction alienate the rest. Entrepreneurs who accept investment from the wrong partner often discover they've sold more than equity, they've sold control. When you tie yourself down, you lose freedom, and freedom is leverage. Those who remain fluid become the prize everyone wants to win. When two rivals each hope to secure your loyalty, you gain twice the influence by remaining unclaimed. Ambiguity is not weakness, it is positioning. When you refuse to be pinned down, people chase you harder. Law 21. Play a sucker to catch a sucker. Seem dumber than your mark. Ego blinds, and nothing feeds ego like believing you're the smartest person in the room. Let others believe it. Pretend not to know as much as you do. Act impressed by their brilliance. The overconfident investor who underestimates a founder often finds the contract written in the founder's favor. The competitor who thinks you're naive relaxes his guard, exposing weaknesses. By seeming dumber, you grant others the illusion of superiority. That illusion blinds them. Then, when the moment comes, you strike with clarity they never saw coming. Intelligence hidden is stronger than intelligence flaunted. Law 22. Use the surrender tactic. Transform weakness into power. Sometimes the smartest move is not to fight, it's to yield. A company facing a giant competitor could burn its resources resisting, or it could surrender, sell, and integrate into the larger empire, only to rise again stronger inside the machine that once threatened it. A politician drowning in scandal can deny and resist until broken, or confess quickly, take the blow, and rebuild before opponents expect it. Surrender buys time. It shifts perception. It creates surprise. When you give way strategically, your rival believes they've won and lowers their guard. In truth, you are gathering strength, waiting for the right moment to return. Law 24. Play the perfect courtier. Power has always lived in social spaces. Once it was royal courts, now it is boardrooms, political circles, and celebrity networks. The perfect courtier is not the loudest voice, but the most adaptable presence. They know when to flatter, when to remain silent, when to drop the perfect compliment that makes a leader glow. They make every superior feel secure, every peer feel included, every rival feel disarmed. Their strength is finesse, not force. They survive every upheaval because they never stand out as a threat, yet they are always in favor. In modern times, this law belongs to the networker who makes others feel seen, the strategist who navigates egos without colliding, the insider who is always present but never exposed. Charm, timing, and tact are their weapons, and they are often stronger than steel.
Law 19. Know who you're dealing with. Do not offend the wrong person. Not all opponents are equal. One sharp word to the wrong individual can haunt you for years. In a meeting, a junior executive mocked his boss's outdated strategy, winning a quick laugh from colleagues. Days later, his projects were reassigned, his opportunities dried up, and his career stalled. It wasn't the joke that ended him, it was the target. Some people shrug off insults. Others carry them like debts, waiting for the perfect moment to collect. Before you speak, learn the temperament of the person across from you. Is their pride fragile? Do they forgive or do they plot? The wrong offense can grow into a shadow that follows you through every corridor of your career. Power is not only about action, it is about knowing who you can never afford to provoke. Law 20. Do not commit to anyone. Commitment sounds noble, but they often lock you into cages of obligation. Politicians who tie themselves too tightly to one faction alienate the rest. Entrepreneurs who accept investment from the wrong partner often discover they've sold more than equity, they've sold control. When you tie yourself down, you lose freedom, and freedom is leverage. Those who remain fluid become the prize everyone wants to win. When two rivals each hope to secure your loyalty, you gain twice the influence by remaining unclaimed. Ambiguity is not weakness, it is positioning. When you refuse to be pinned down, people chase you harder. Law 21. Play a sucker to catch a sucker. Seem dumber than your mark. Ego blinds, and nothing feeds ego like believing you're the smartest person in the room. Let others believe it. Pretend not to know as much as you do. Act impressed by their brilliance. The overconfident investor who underestimates a founder often finds the contract written in the founder's favor. The competitor who thinks you're naive relaxes his guard, exposing weaknesses. By seeming dumber, you grant others the illusion of superiority. That illusion blinds them. Then, when the moment comes, you strike with clarity they never saw coming. Intelligence hidden is stronger than intelligence flaunted. Law 22. Use the surrender tactic. Transform weakness into power. Sometimes the smartest move is not to fight, it's to yield.
A company facing a giant competitor could burn its resources resisting, or it could surrender, sell, and integrate into the larger empire, only to rise again stronger inside the machine that once threatened it. A politician drowning in scandal can deny and resist until broken, or confess quickly, take the blow, and rebuild before opponents expect it. Surrender buys time. It shifts perception. It creates surprise. When you give way strategically, your rival believes they have won and lowers their guard. In truth, you are gathering strength, waiting for the right moment to return. Law 23. Concentrate your forces. Distraction is death. The modern world pulls us in 1,000 directions: side hustles, constant notifications, endless obligations. But those who master concentration bend power to their will. The empire builder chooses one vision and pours all resources into it until it dominates. The athlete focuses relentlessly on one discipline until their name becomes legend. Scattered effort creates noise. Concentrated effort creates impact. Imagine a beam of sunlight diffused across a field, warm but harmless. Focus that same light through a lens, and it can burn through steel. Power works the same way. Law 24. Play the perfect courtier. Power has always lived in social spaces. Once it was royal courts, now it is boardrooms, political circles, and celebrity networks. The perfect courtier is not the loudest voice, but the most adaptable presence. They know when to flatter, when to remain silent, when to drop the perfect compliment that makes a leader glow. They make every superior feel secure, every peer feel included, every rival feel disarmed. Their strength is finesse, not force. They survive every upheaval because they never stand out as a threat, yet they are always in favor. In modern times, this law belongs to the networker who makes others feel seen, the strategist who navigates egos without colliding, the insider who is always present but never exposed. Charm, timing, and tact are their weapons, and they are often stronger than steel.
1. Opening each law. Law 25. Recreate yourself. Identity is not a fixed truth. It is a stage performance. Those who cling to one image eventually fade with it. An actor once dismissed as a shallow comedian rebranded as a dramatic star and walked away with an Academy Award. A bankrupt businessman returned years later not as a failure, but as a visionary mentor, rewriting his story before others could. To recreate yourself is to refuse to let others define you. Life will hand you labels, but labels are prisons. Tear them off. Dress in new armor. Show the world a version of yourself they have not yet learned to resist. Law 26. Keep your hands clean. Those in power must appear untouchable even when their fingerprints are everywhere. The public loves a scapegoat, and the wise provide one before suspicion drifts too close. When a company faces backlash over a bad product, it is not the CEO who falls, it is the manager who failed to deliver. Politicians rarely admit failure. They speak of bad information or advisors who misled. The wise leader ensures credit flows upward and blame flows outward. Let others swing the axe while you smile spotless. Innocence is not about truth. It is about perception, and perception keeps you safe. Law 27. Play on people's need to believe to create a cult-like following. Humans crave belief. They want to belong to something larger than themselves. Leaders who understand this can command armies without lifting a sword. Look around. Movements, fandoms, brands, even fitness gurus turn ordinary followers into zealous believers. They offer not just a product, but a story, a purpose, a destiny. The charismatic founder who preaches disruption, the influencer who promises transformation, the preacher who assures salvation, all tap the same hunger. They create symbols, rituals, and enemies for their tribe to rally against. Rational arguments rarely build loyalty. Belief does. And the one who supplies that belief becomes untouchable. Law 28. Enter action with boldness. Hesitation is fatal. A general who doubts at the start of battle has already lost. A job candidate who speaks timidly in an interview is forgotten before the door closes. Boldness, even if flawed, inspires confidence. When Steve Jobs unveiled his devices, he didn't suggest, he declared. Boldness carries a momentum that draws others in. Once you move with certainty, others begin to doubt their own hesitation. The timid shrink possibilities. The bold expand them. If you must act, do so with a conviction that leaves no space for doubt. Fortune does not favor the careful. It favors the bold. Law 29. Plan all the way to the end. Improvisation looks exciting, but it often hides disaster. The masters of power see not just the next step, but the entire arc of the game. A chess grandmaster does not move a piece without calculating the final checkmate. A campaign manager designs not just speeches, but the victory speech months ahead. The one who knows where the road ends controls how it begins. Those who live only for today are blindsided by tomorrow. If you cannot picture the conclusion of your strategy, you have not yet begun. The end defines the journey. Plan it, and the middle will take care of itself. Law 30. Make your accomplishments seem effortless. The world admires the natural genius. It does not admire the sweat, the failure, the countless attempts behind the curtain. That is why the powerful hide their grind. Michael Jordan trained with relentless discipline, but the world remembers only his grace in the air. An entrepreneur spends a decade in obscurity, then is hailed as an overnight success. The appearance of ease magnifies admiration. Show the struggle, and people doubt. Show the ease, and they believe you are destined. Behind closed doors, bleed and labor as much as you must. In public, let it all look inevitable. Effort is private. Elegance is public.
Law 31. Control the options. Get others to play with the cards you deal. True control is rarely about force. It's about framing the choices so that no matter what people decide, you win. A company offers 3 subscription tiers, one cheap, one outrageously expensive, and one perfectly reasonable. Most customers choose the middle, never realizing they've been guided there from the start. Parents do it to children. Do you want broccoli first or carrots first? Both options are vegetables, but the child feels empowered. Political strategists design debates around questions that box rivals into losing positions. Freedom of choice is an illusion, one crafted by those who understand how to stack the deck. Don't fight for control in the outcome. Control the frame, and the outcome belongs to you. Law 32. Play to people's fantasies. Reality is heavy, and most people seek escape from it. The powerful understand this and feed people not with truth, but with dreams. Movie stars sell us the fantasy of glamour, not the grind of endless auditions. Politicians speak of a shining future, not the slow grind of policy. Entrepreneurs pitch disruption that changes the world, not the long nights of failure. The truth may bore or burden. Fantasy excites, uplifts, intoxicates. Offer people the vision they long to believe in, and they will follow you eagerly. Shatter illusions too bluntly, and they will hate you for it. The masses don't want reality. They want the story that makes reality bearable. Law 33. Discover each man's thumbscrew. Everyone has a lever, a weakness, a need, a desire. To know it is to hold power over them. For some, it is vanity. A compliment unlocks their loyalty. For others, it is fear. A subtle threat freezes them in place. A negotiator once studied her opponent so carefully that she realized he hated silence. In meetings, she simply stayed quiet until he filled the air with concessions. His thumbscrew was discomfort, and she pressed it gently until the deal bent in her favor. Never assume people are impenetrable. Every fortress has a hidden gate. Find it, and you control the entire castle. Law 35. Master the art of timing. Power does not only come from what you do, but when you do it. Strike too soon, and you waste your move. Strike too late, and the opportunity is gone. A comedian's joke lands not only because of the words, but because of the pause before the punchline. A trader who buys too soon or sells too late loses, even if their instincts are correct. Great generals, great athletes, great leaders all succeed because they feel the rhythm of time and move with it. Timing is invisible, but it governs every game. Learn to wait, learn to pause, learn to strike only when the moment is ripe, and you will seem unstoppable. Law 36. Disdain things you cannot have. Ignoring them is the best revenge. Nothing magnifies desire like attention. To chase what you cannot have makes it seem more powerful than it is. To insult it, fight it, obsess over it, all of this elevates it. A rival who thrives on your response has already beaten you. The powerful know how to ignore, how to look past, how to carry on as if the unattainable was never truly equal to you. And often, the moment you stop chasing, the very thing you wanted comes knocking at your door. Law 37. Create compelling spectacles. Words are forgotten, but images burn into memory. A leader who launches a new initiative with a dazzling event overshadows rivals who release theirs quietly. A courtroom lawyer once knew his case was weak, so instead of relying only on arguments, he dropped a blood-stained shirt on the jury table. The gasp it provoked mattered more than hours of testimony. Spectacle bypasses reason and strikes emotion. That is why concerts use lights and smoke, why politicians use flags and music, why brands pour millions into visuals. If you want to leave an impression, don't just explain, show. Create a moment so vivid that no one forgets. Law 38. Think as you like, but behave like others. Independence of thought is power. But independence of behavior is danger. A man who flaunts how different he is risks isolation. A professional who openly mocks tradition in the workplace rarely climbs higher. The wise keep their private beliefs private while blending in publicly. A philosopher can hold radical ideas, but if he laughs at the same jokes and dresses like everyone else, he survives long enough to share those ideas safely. Outward conformity, inward freedom. That is the balance. Rebel too openly, and you become a target. Hide your rebellion until the moment it can reshape the system. Law 49. Stir up waters to catch fish. Anger clouds judgment, and judgment clouded is judgment conquered. When rivals lose their temper, they reveal their true fears, their true motives, their unguarded weaknesses. The wise provoke without appearing to provoke. A negotiator delays meetings just long enough to irritate her opponent, who then rushes and agrees to terms he would otherwise resist. A competitor posts taunts on social media, pulling an enemy into a public feud that ruins their reputation. Control your own emotions, but nudge others toward losing their own. Once they are thrashing in muddy waters, clarity belongs only to you. Law 40. Despise the free lunch. What costs nothing often costs the most. Accept a gift and you inherit obligation. A politician who takes donations feels the pull of those donors long after he or she wins. A professional who lives off favors is seen as weak, dependent. True power pays its own way, not because it can't accept help, but because it refuses to be owned. The wealthy business leader who insists on paying the bill is not being generous. She is reminding everyone that she owes no one. The free lunch is rarely free. Better to spend your own coin and keep your independence. Law 41. Avoid stepping into a great man's shoes. To inherit greatness is to inherit expectation. The son of a legendary athlete, the successor of a visionary CEO, the politician following a beloved leader, each enters the stage weighed down by comparison. No matter how talented, they are measured against the ghost of the one who came before. To step into such shoes is to walk in chains. Create your own path, your own identity, your own narrative. Instead of continuing someone else's story, start a new one. Greatness borrowed is greatness diminished. Greatness created is greatness undeniable. Law 42. Strike the shepherd, and the sheep will scatter. Groups often seem united, but unity usually hangs on a single figure. Remove that figure, and the structure collapses. A sports team with a charismatic captain falls apart when he is sidelined. A movement built around a single preacher fades when he is exposed. A toxic workplace thrives around one domineering manager. Once removed, the culture shifts overnight. Instead of fighting an entire crowd, identify the shepherd and strike. Without their leader, the flock loses direction. Disarm the figure at the center, and the rest will dissolve on their own.
Law 43. Work on the hearts and minds of others. Power gained through fear alone is brittle. To endure, you must shape what people feel and think. A general may force soldiers to fight with threats, but the leader who inspires them with belief wins loyalty that lasts beyond the battlefield. In business, a manager who motivates through bonuses can buy short bursts of effort, but the one who makes employees feel valued and part of a mission gains energy money can't purchase. Hearts and minds are the soil where influence grows. Control the inside, and the outside follows naturally. Law 44.
Disarm and infuriate with the mirror effect. Nothing unsettles people more than seeing their own reflection turned back against them. A difficult colleague raises his voice in meetings, mirror his intensity, and suddenly he is thrown off balance. A rival mocks your weaknesses publicly. Repeat his exact words with calmness, and the laughter turns toward him. By reflecting behavior, you expose motives, strip masks, and frustrate those who expect to dominate. The mirror is both weapon and shield. Used well, it makes opponents fight themselves until they break. Law 45. Preach the need for change, but never reform too much at once. People claim they love change, but in truth, they fear it. Revolutions collapse not because their vision is wrong, but because they move faster than the people they lead can handle. A company that overhauls everything at once often loses its customers. A government that tears down every institution sparks chaos and backlash. If you must change, promise it boldly, but deliver it gradually. Allow people to adjust step by step until they are walking in a new world without realizing how far they've gone. Push too fast and they rebel. Move with patience and they follow willingly. Law 46. Never appear too perfect. Perfection provokes envy. Flawlessness makes others root for your fall. The athlete who dominates too easily is cheered against. The executive who seems untouchable faces quiet sabotage. Show no weakness, and others will invent one for you. The wise reveal small imperfections on purpose, a moment of humility, a story of struggle, a visible scar. These touches disarm envy, making your success feel more human. Too much perfection isolates. A hint of vulnerability connects. Let people admire you without resenting you. Appear strong, but never invincible. Law 48. Assume formlessness. Water has no shape, yet it carves mountains. Smoke has no body, yet it fills every space. To fix yourself too rigidly is to make yourself vulnerable. The company defined too narrowly can be disrupted. The leader who never adapts becomes predictable and weak. The powerful remain fluid, shifting with circumstances, reinventing when necessary, impossible to pin down. The world changes daily. Those who cling to a single shape break. Those who flow survive for